My name is Professor Amukoa Anangwe. I am the Secretary of Kakamega Branch, ANC. I'm also the Chief Campaign Manager of Musalia Mudavadi Presidential Campaign. As you are all aware, the Orange Democratic Movement Party held its rally at the Buhungu Stadium, Kakamega, yesterday, 31st December 2021, and it was attended by several of its top leaders, including the ODM's presumptive presidential candidate, Right Honorable Raila Odinga. As ANC, we have no problem with the rival political parties holding their rallies in Kakamega and elsewhere in the region, because the Constitution guarantees freedom of assembly, freedom of expression, and freedom of association, and no party or group of individuals should attempt to curtail these freedoms for whatever reason. We therefore commend our members, supporters, and the Luhya community for demonstrating maturity in letting such an event pass without incidents or hindrance. In the same vein, we urge other Kenyans, especially ODM supporters, to embrace and inculcate the same spirit everywhere during the election period, because to do otherwise would be primitive, retrogressive, and inimical to our collective efforts as a nation to deepen the democratization process in the country. In particular, we urge ODM leadership in Nyanza to rein in their unruly supporters that have demonstrated in the recent past a knack for unmitigated and unprovoked stone throwing in defense of Baba's bedroom. They should also demonstrate magnanimity to the same extent that other communities have shown towards Raila Odinga whenever he makes political forays in other parts of Kenya. As ANC, we pledge to carry on our political activities within the confines of the law, the constitutional dispensation, and the respect for other parties' fundamental democratic right to canvass for support, and we shall expect the same treatment from ODM's stronghold in Nyanza. However, prior to the event, that is yesterday, a lot was said as to the main purpose of the rally, which caused unnecessary anxiety, misunderstanding, and altercations that would have easily precipitated acts of political violence. As a party, we were appalled by resolutions purportedly orchestrated by the so-called Luhya Cans of Elders under the patronage of Mr. Francis Atwoli, the Secretary General of COTU. The said resolutions are null and void insofar as they seek to usurp the legitimate and democratic right of the electorate to freely choose whoever they prefer for the various seats in 2022. Even more laughable and absurd is an attempt to impose Raila as the region's preferred presidential candidate, a resolution that is not only wishful thinking, undemocratic and outrageous, but also delusional and misguided on the part of Atwoli and his ilk, to the extent that it ignores the fact that a presidential race in Kenya is inherently competitive nationally, and that of 22 will be no different. No power on earth should be allowed to dictate such political direction to a free people with a right to decide on their own on electoral matters. Thus, the Atwoli-led coterie of elders should be dismissed with contempt and made aware that its attempts are illegitimate and bound to fail. The the elders should also know that they lack the capacity and the wherewithal, let alone the political will, to enforce such a monumental decisions. Instead, the ANC advises Atwoli and Oparanya to demonstrate individual courage and political prowess by competing for the ODM presidential ticket rather than to kowtow and hero worship Raila and exhibit such a political cowardice like they are lesser men. We urge Atwoli and Oparanya to desist from undermining Musalia Mudavadi in his own backyard and behaving like errand boys on a mission to impress their political master for selfish ends. Regarding the defections of ANC MPs and MCAs, this should be analyzed and understood within the national context. Most national parties are in a state of flux and witnessing a season of defections by politicians seeking a vantage point to secure political seats in the forthcoming elections. Therefore, it is not a phenomenon that is just unique to ANC. In fact, Jubilee has suffered the severest hemorrhage when its parliamentary majority declined drastically due to defections. Similarly, ODM has also suffered the same fate, with some of its stalwarts, for instance, Turkana Governor Josephat Nanok, Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi, and Honorable Aisha Jumwa, Malindi constituency, when they quit in order to seek re-election in alternative parties. In other words, the exit of Honorable Ayub Savula and Honorable Uku Kaunya during the ODM rally yesterday is no big deal. The NC has taken in stride the happening and wishes them well in their new parties. However, their departure from the ANC will not be such a huge loss, as the party has a huge reservoir of followers and potential candidates ready and willing to replace and soldier on and perturb. With respect to the presidential race in 2022, we wish to reaffirm that Musalia Mudavadi will be on the ballot to seek the leadership of the country, based largely on the economic agenda under the clarion Uchumi Bora kwa wote and Pesa Mfukoni. In that quest, Mudavadi will be free to build bridges with various stakeholders in the entire country. He will also canvass for support for his presidential bid from other political leaders to be able to forge a common front to overcome the overwhelming economic challenges. In this regard, it's a non-issue, or should it surprise anybody if he chose invariably and without prejudice to have a conversation with other presidential contenders with a view to enlisting their support in a structured manner for his bid in the spirit of give and take and building consensus on shared agenda.
Pia kwa niaba ya vijana kwa hii chama tunataka tujiepushe na hiyo vitendo vyote ambavyo vilifanyika Kakamega, kwa sababu hiyo ilikuwa kwanza, hii ilikuwa Kakamega hapa. Hii ilikuwa mambo ya Waluya, kwa sababu kama ni mambo ya Waluya, Peter Kenneth alikuwa anafanya nini ndani? Kama ni mambo ya Waluya, Raila Odinga alikuwa anafanya nini ndani? Sisi mambo yetu ya Waluya tutapanga kama Waluya, na hatutahitaji watu kutoka nje kuja kutupanga, kwa sababu hatujashindwa kujipanga. Tuna uwezo wa sisi wenyewe kujipanga. Pia
this is probably working with.
You cannot be in ANC on the one hand and reject Oka until the party has so resolved. The decision to join Oka was a party decision, and that particular position has not changed. I listened to Savula speaking. To me, he looked confused, like he wanted to have his cake and eat it too. Ameenda mguu moja bado iko. Sisi we are telling him what he has said is good enough. He has demonstrated he is disloyal. He has abandoned us. Wacha aende, kwa heri, tumesema safari salama.